What they're doing is indefensible. They've mandated storybooks that expose young children to extreme gender and sexual ideology without notifying parents and without giving us a choice. That is not education. That is indoctrination.
Yes. The Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has an all-new slogan. I have their new slogan for you. It's remarkable. It comes from history, because you know how they love history. Well, at least rewriting it. Ba-bam-bam. A very good Wednesday to you, and welcome. Hump Day in the Clinton household. We all know what that means. Hillary Clinton once again waking up face down in a pool of her own dried vomit with an empty 1-gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay next to her. She's got to be out because Bill Clinton, he's got it's Hump Day. That also means, of course, that it is Mailbag Day here on the Chris Plante Show. I'm waving. I have it printed out right here. You can hear it banging against the microphone. Such violence, such violence. A very good Wednesday to you. And, boy, the Supreme Court, we opened with a soundbite from a mother from Montgomery County, Maryland, blocks away from where I stand now at the radio station Mothership in Washington, D.C. And the Supreme Court yesterday, hearing the insanity of the Democratic Party trying to transgender, gay, sexualize kindergarten children. Maybe a restraining order ought to be imposed on the entirety of the Democratic Party. Keep them away from the kids. Just completely nuts. But the Supreme Court, we're in pretty good shape. They got a couple of lunatics on there saying crazy stuff yesterday. Democrats, we have one Democrat member of the Supreme Court can't tell you what a woman is. So maybe she should recuse herself. What do you think? Recuse herself? Ketanji Brown Jackson ought to recuse herself in this case since she doesn't know what gender is. She can't remember. Nobody told her. She was never taught this. Must be Ivy League. Amazing stuff. But crazy mob of cross-dressing, child-abusing, gender dysphoric Democrats outside the Supreme Court yesterday. Inside the Supreme Court, 9 justices, many of them very common sense people, very intelligent people. Not all of them, though, because the Democrats got to pick a few of them. And that's going to be problematic for Western civilization because of the many mental illnesses that they just enjoy. They embrace. They like that word, embrace, don't they? Amazing stuff. Also, the Democrats, they've been flying to El Salvador to visit an MS-13 gang member who's a hero of the Democratic Party because they got some pretty strange ideas about who their heroes are these days. And it turns out now, 5 Democrats went and visited. Not only did, it's 5 Democrats that have gone to El Salvador so far. They say many more will be coming to visit the MS-13 gang member who the Democrat Party loves so much. Honestly, they love Luigi Mangione, who murdered a CEO walking the sidewalk in New York. And the Democrats, they're going to have scholarships and awards in his name, Luigi Mangione. And it's not going to be for, best pasta dish. It's going to be for best murder. Aren't they amazing? But it turns out 5 more Democrats went and visited Mahmoud Khalil. He's a student, got a student visa. He lied on the student visa. Didn't say he was with a Death to All Jews organization and Death to Western Civilization organization. But Mahmoud Khalil being incarcerated right now in Louisiana. I don't know why it takes so long to deport people that lie on their visa applications and then come here and incite racist terror against Jewish people and against Western civilization and the United States of America. But the Democrats, they want a Mahmoud Khalil scholarship because if you're a member of MS-13, they're your biggest fan. If you're a member of the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, so many of them here now, we have an abbreviation for it. We just call it TDA, right? So honestly, they've turned the world into some kind of terrorist Monty Python. The Democratic Party has, not the radical Islamists. I know what to expect from them, but I'm even today a little surprised by how berserk the Democrat Party has become. So a bunch of them went and visited Mahmoud Khalil in Louisiana because they love him. The mothers that are being murdered by illegal aliens, and again, another one that the news media is ignoring, mother of two in Maryland, just across the line from the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., a mother of two murdered by another illegal alien. This is quite a coincidence we've got going here, isn't it? Amazing stuff. And the news media doesn't cover it because they think it might not be good news for the Democratic Party since they're encouraging and enticing and facilitating. Is that the word, the Supreme Court, you facilitate? The Democrats are facilitating the gangs and their entry into the United States where they can do what criminal gangs from Latin America do. And that's usually not good stuff. They don't run food shelters and things like that. Amazing stuff. So the Democrat Party today, they're now members of Congress, elected Democrats going to Louisiana to hang out with Mahmoud Khalil, who's on his way to being deported. And they're like, oh, no, he knocked up a woman and she gave birth while he was incarcerated. Well, I guess he shouldn't be inciting terror against Israel and Jewish people and the United States while he's here on a student visa. But the Democrats say, oh, it's free speech. It's free speech. Unless, of course, you're a Christian grandmother praying outside of an abortion clinic, in which case they put you in prison for years and they spit at you when you go by. Because the left is not civilized. And the Democratic Party has been taken over by the left. They are bad news. Maybe it should be banned in the United States. Who do they support? They support the flag, the red, white, and blue, Flag Day. Donald Trump, even though they didn't vote for him, President of the United States. No, they support MS-13, Tren de Aragua, which we now call TDA. And they support Mahmoud Khalil, who supports Hamas, which is a genocidal, racist, anti-Semitic death cult. And then they go around calling everybody Nazis. Isn't that crazy? Man, oh, Manischewitz, I'll tell you. And they harvest the organs of about 1 million unborn children every year for medical experimentation. Dr. Mengele is applauding them from hell, from the burning pits of hell. And the Democrats are just on the wrong side of absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Has Chris Van Hollen gone and visited the mother of Rachel Morin yet? No, it'd take him just a few minutes to drive over to her house and check in. He could be nice. He could do something good. But no. So we've got a lot. We've got it led. And also the Democrats, because they opened our borders for years, and it's the fundamental transformation of America. The Democrats there, they love the genocidal, racists, anti-Semites like Mahmoud Khalil and a bunch of Democrats going down there, attacking the United States for not welcoming genocidal anti-Semites to college campuses who are here on student visas. The Democrats applaud this kind of genocidal anti-Semitism. And a whole bunch of Democrats, are they all DOC, Democrats of color, that went and visited Mahmoud Khalil? Because they always racialize everything, the party of the bullwhip and the plantation and the Confederate States of America. But there's a lot to get into here. The good people at the New York Post, you may remember they had all the true and correct reporting on the Hunter Biden laptop that the Democrats and the corrupt media shot down and said wasn't true. And you remember a penitentiary-faced John Brennan, the Communist Party voter that the Communist Party mentored Barack Obama, made CIA director, you may recall. That was a complicated sentence. And John Brennan led the charge, communist voter that he is, on the reporting, which was all expert, perfect reporting, on the Hunter Biden laptop had all the earmarks of Russian disinformation. No, but the communist penitentiary face, John Brennan, everything he does has all the earmarks of Russian disinformation. And if we had a news media, like if we had a newspaper called the New York Times or TV show called 60 Minutes or something. Maybe they could root out the sources of evil on all this. But listen to this. Trump's mass deportation raids result in 655% spike in arrests of terrorists roaming the U.S., including one of India's most wanted. An Indian terrorist who was plotting a hand grenade attack in the United States, arrested, and they're running child sex traffic operations in New York City. And the Democrats are like, hey, I like child forced prostitution. Somebody give me a few bucks, because that's what Democrats do. They're not on the side of anything that is right or good, and certainly not on the side of anything American. So mass deportation raids result in 655% increase in arrests of people on our terrorist list, on the list of terrorists, because we used to frown upon terrorists roaming the country, but never mind that. 27 Tren de Aragua members arrested and charged. Isn't that okay? And I've got to say that the Democrats, they're on the wrong side of absolutely everything. And the spike in terrorist arrest during 2024, the Biden administration arrested 29 people on the terror watch list. In the same period of time, since January 20th this year, since Inauguration Day, 219 people on the terrorist list arrested. And the Democrats want to go visit them and bring them sandwiches, bring them shawarmas, maybe some hummus and, pita. Get some hummus and pita. I love shawarmas and nice chicken shawarma and hummus and pita, too. But the Democrats, they've joined ISIS, I think. The Democrat Party they're not on the side of civilization. I'm telling you, the World Health Organization, another corrupt, they did a great job on that pandemic, didn't they? The World Health Organization. They did everything wrong. And the lefty media, very upset. World Health Organization, called WHO, appropriately enough. WHO announces significant layoffs among U.S. funding cuts. And the Democrats are wait a minute, an organization anywhere is having to cut people, and the U.S. is funding everything everywhere, and we're $36 trillion in debt, and the Democrats want to bankrupt us along the lines of the Cloward and Piven strategy, radical left-wing extremists who want to destroy capitalism on planet Earth, and so their target is us. Isn't that amazing? The Democrats also trying to tear down a high school in Long Island in New York. Their teams are called the Chiefs, and they've got mascots that are the Chiefs. And the Democrats want to tear it down because they're still killing the Indians. They're chasing them around on horseback with ropes and rifles. The Democrat Party is the party of chasing around people with ropes on horseback. They're the party of the KKK. And now they're the party of the Democrats today, and that might be more lethal, more terrible. But tribal activists stand up for Long Island town's Chiefs mascot after Trump pledges to fight over New York Native American logo ban, because the Democrats are banning the Chiefs, because you can't have Chiefs and then the Kansas City Chiefs. It's destroying anything that has anything to do with the United States of America and our history, except for the Democrat Party. Well, I guess they destroyed their own history. They erased their own history. So remarkable things we have going on there. And the love ICE arrests Guatemalan alien charged with girlfriend's murder, arrested as uncle to an illegal alien charged as an accessory. And it's got to be ICE, because the Democrats want to defund ICE. They want to defund their local police. These people, they're on the wrong side of absolutely everything. Yes, sir. Purcellville in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, to fully fund police department after trying to eliminate it. They wanted to eliminate their police department, but now they've decided to fully fund it because, murder is bad, and it turns out most of the people in Purcellville are against it. Democrats are in favor. RFK Jr. wants to fight the rising tide of autism. He's the Secretary of the Department of Homeland, of HHS. Health and Human Services, not Homeland Security. But RFK is being attacked because he wants to combat the rising tide of autism. The Democrats are now in favor of autism. They're attacking him. RFK Jr.'s autism registry plan sparks backlash because the Democrats are now backing autism. We've got Elizabeth Warren being Elizabeth Warren. She's Pocahontas. Amazing stuff. Wildfires in New Jersey. The Democrats must have seen to it that water doesn't come out of the fire hydrants anymore like they did in California. And how about those gun crimes in America? Where are the most of those coming from? We are at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Democrats think any gang member you deport from the United States was mistakenly deported or unjustifiably, illegitimately deported because they want more of that. Too much law school, not enough brains. Let's, Michael, go to the telephones. Let's go to Kent, calling from Rome, Georgia, where he's listening on Al Gore's amazing internet. Kent, you're on the Chris Plank Show.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
I've been thinking about the Kilmore Garcia, his child, and I'm kind of concerned because I hope it's a girl. Because if it's a boy, regardless of what they named him, he will always be known as Marilyn Manson.
Why will he always be known as Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Man's son.
He's Marilyn Man's son. See, he's the Marilyn Man's son. There you go. It's a boy, and
poor guy.
And we're told that he's severely autistic and nonverbal.
Oh.
So the Democrats are just, and everywhere you look, every nook and every cranny, they're making everything better, aren't they, Kent?
Well, they like autism, so that should be good. I have one other thing, a couple of things I want to say to you. You call Elizabeth Warren not Pocahontas, but Pocahontas, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, because I don't like Pocahontas because that was a real person. I don't want to insult her. I think a better name is Liawatha.
Did I use Liawatha yesterday on Newsmax?
I did. I didn't hear yesterday. So, and AOC should always be called AOC, not by her actual name, because it stands for absence of cognition.
Absence of cognition. What does AOC stand for? Well, as any school child can tell you, it's absence of cognition. The Democrats just want to date her ever so briefly. Kent, thank you. Thank you for the call.
Although they seem strange to us, we must respect the ways of the Indian. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
Now, that was Homer Simpson borrowing from Bugs Bunny, the classic. But we were just talking to Kent in Rome, Georgia, who pointed out that I like to refer to Elizabeth Warren, the fake Native American, the fake American Indian, as Pocahontas rather than Pocahontas, because F-A-U-X, the French for fake, faux, right? Like faux fur, her faux beer drinking, her faux high cheekbones, just like her papa. And all, not to generalize, and all the Indians have the high cheekbones, according to Elizabeth Warren. But last night, Kent, this is for you, because Kent said, you like to call her Pocahontas and stuff. And last night, I said, well, last night on my TV show on Newsmax, 10 o'clock Eastern time, this came up because we were mocking Elizabeth Warren, who is a ridiculous embarrassment to, bipedal hominids. And while we were mocking her last night, it came back. And Kent, I wanted to, because in case you missed it. Senator Elizabeth Warren, liberal Democrat, better known as Pocahontas or Pocahontas or Liawatha. Liawatha recently had a very tough time. See, Liawatha, I threw Liawatha in there, and Kent had mentioned Liawatha, and I do use Pocahontas because it's the fake version of Pocahontas, just like her fake cheekbones and all that stuff. And then we talked about it a little bit, and then when we came back, I did one of my favorite, pounding the table with my right hand. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Now, Daniel did a little hi, how are you? Because Elizabeth Warren. Now, why were we talking about Elizabeth Warren after all? Do you have another one there from last night, Michael?
My papa had high cheekbones, like all of the Indians do.
All of the Indians have high cheekbones. You know, that's why so many are fashion models in Europe, because of the high cheekbones, right? Like President Trump's wife, Melania, who's still never been on the front page of a magazine, the cover of a magazine in the United States, because the communists, you know, they call themselves Democrats. But isn't that amazing? And we did play this Elizabeth Warren soundbite where she was doing a podcast with was it a guy or a woman? I've looked and I can't tell anymore. A lot of them, they dress funny, and they have, you know, my mother had that haircut in like 1979. I think it's a guy, but I can't be sure. And he decided, I'm going to say he because I got to pick one. I could say they, but it was only one guy. So I had Elizabeth Warren sitting there and said, hey, Elizabeth Warren, you were telling everybody last year, election year, that Joe Biden was really sharp, smart, and what did she call him? Bright as a tack. There's a little, I'm mixing metaphors there, bright as a tack, because he's not bright as anything and he's not sharp as anything, but they were going around telling us this. And the corrupt, fake Indian senator from Massachusetts, Gesundheit, with her many years at Harvard, where they pitched her as a high cheekbone Native American. So this dimwit, he asked Pocahontas, he said, hey, Hiawatha, what do you know? And how about this? You told everybody all year last year, leading up to Election Day, that Joe Biden was really sharp and really smart. Don't you regret saying all that now? And she just perpetuated the lie. She does what Democrats do. She can't believe I'm being asked this question. That would be embarrassing to me because I lie all the time. You're not supposed to call me on it. I'm a Democrat.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
That's a guy.
I said what I believe to be true.
Lie.
You think he was as sharp as you?
Well, trick question.
I said I had not seen decline.
Had not seen decline. I had.
And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that.
Not when I said that. Really? Well, had you been in a coma for several years? Because these people, can I just say, these people, she should be off to visit Mahmoud Khalil and MS-13 gang members in El Salvador. These people are truly mental. They're is it dwarfism? Is that what we call it now? Aren't they amazing? Our Democrat Party.
He was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, you caught me. I'm a lion, Sacagawea. See, now we're back to Sacagawea because aren't they amazing? We got everything with Elizabeth Warren always leads back to American Indians because lion, Sacagawea. Elizabeth Warren gives stunned, silent laugh when podcaster asks if Biden was as sharp as you. And honestly, that's got to be a trick question. They had to set that up ahead of time, right? Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat, Massachusetts, was stunned into momentary silence. That should last for years, shouldn't it? When podcaster, it's Sam Fragoso. Sam Fragoso is his name, nice Italian name. Gave her a little bit of a push, pressed her on past statements defending President Joe Biden's mental sharpness, asking if he was as sharp as you. That's a funny little trick question from this guy Fragoso, Sam Fragoso, and it's a podcast. Anybody ever hear of Sam Fragoso? His mom doesn't know who Sam Fragoso is, but Senator Elizabeth Warren went on there, I assume because he's kind of genderless. I assume Sam Fragoso goes by they or something. He's got my mother's 1979 hairdo. Must have gone down to the Swiss coiffure. It's where my mother used to get her hair cut when I was a little kid. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, they're very, very unwell. What's the matter you? You gotta know respect. Great stuff. And now they're attacking. Look, if you are, you see what they're doing to Elon Musk now, too. They're attacking RFK Jr. I think he's a Democrat serving at a cabinet level, HHS, in the Trump Republican administration. And the Democrats, you got to look out because they sure do a lot of bad, violent stuff, don't they? But the crazy people are after Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump, but they love gang members from Latin America and Hamas lovers from the Middle East. They don't even care where. As long as you hate America, the Democrats are with you. They're amazing, amazing. Now, the Politico, a left-wing rag in Washington, D.C., they've got a thing that lefties love, the playbook. They put out their playbook every day. And the government paid them millions of dollars for it under Joe Biden. Gave Politico millions of dollars. And so why are we giving millions of tax dollars to a left-wing rag in Washington, D.C. that couldn't stay afloat on its own? And they said, a lot of government employees really need access to the playbook every morning that left-wingers in Washington put out, part of the Circle Fest that is journalism and Democrat Party politics in Washington, D.C. It's a hot tub. But the Politico West Wing playbook this morning says, Dems confident of anti-Musk playbook. Wait a minute, the Democrats are confident of the anti-Elon Musk playbook? Yeah, and they say the latest is that, and listen to this, they're trying to bankrupt the richest man in the world and the automobile company, the electric automobile company, Tesla, that the Democrats and Barack Obama, I think Barack Obama gave him $500 million or something to get it started, and Elon Musk paid it all back with interest, and he paid it back so quickly that they penalized him because he paid it back too early, right? Because they're basically communists. They're not on the side of civilization. But the Democrats confident in anti-Musk playbook, who they used to love and want to date. Now they want to date Latin American gang member murderers, but never mind that. So Tesla's net income fell by 71% in the first quarter of 2025, according to the just-released disclosure. Now, this is because the Democrats are firebombing them, vandalizing them. You see one of Minnesota Democrat Governor Tim Walz, the man who would be vice president, who didn't go to Iraq but said that he did. And one of his people, a state employee working under the Democrat governor of Minnesota, was caught on video, multiple videos, vandalizing Tesla automobiles. And he's a state employee. Now they're probably going to run him for Congress because they love violence and criminality. They're not well. So Tesla's net income fell by 71% in the first quarter of 2025. Tesla earned only $409 million in quarter one. That's very low. Now that's times four, right? That's going to be it's 409 million times four for the year. And they're like, hey, he's doing terrible, isn't he? Tesla earned only, and they use the word only in Politico, $409 million in quarter one. That's just the first quarter. Down from $1.39 billion. So the Democrats feel like they've stolen $1 billion for him, and they feel good about this. They should burn it somewhere. Did any Democrats self-immolate for Earth Day yesterday? Because it was the third anniversary of Democrat, what was his name? Wynn from Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, self-immolating at the Supreme Court. I wonder if they commemorated that. Oh, they did, by trying to sexualize kindergarten children with transgenderism at the Supreme Court. What's worse? Honestly. So it earned only $409 million in quarter one, down from $1.39 billion in the first quarter of last year. This is a Democrat success story. Gutting an American company, the most American automobile you're going to find anywhere. Invented here, founded here, built here, parts from here. The founder, creator, Elon Musk, an immigrant from Africa who came here to build, and the Democrats are here to destroy. Speaking of which, I was talking about the Democrats' new slogan, and I get to that. But the Democrats are celebrating the Tesla earnings being down by $1 billion, nearly $1 billion, in the first quarter. And Elon Musk shifted his focus to the Department of Government Efficiency. So now they're accidentally giving him full credit for the success of Tesla. The company cited the volatile market as well as President Donald Trump's trade policy as reasons for the decline. Uncertainty, quoting now, uncertainty in the automotive and energy markets continues to increase as rapidly evolving trade policy adversely impacts the global supply chain and cost structure of Tesla and our peers, the company wrote in a statement. Elon Musk is set to address his investors' 5:30 p.m. earnings call, which he did. And that, I got to tell you, Boogeyman Musk, this is again still Politico. This winter, before Musk took a blowtorch to the U.S. Agency for International Development, which offended the Democrats because it's another slush fund for left-wing terrorists around the world. And they love funding anything that's anti-American, un-American, detrimental to America. That's your Democrat Party. But they're the Boogeyman Musk. And he came in to try to save taxpayer dollars and look for waste, government waste, biggest spenders on the planet Earth. And if you look for waste, then the Democrats will throw themselves in front of trains to try to stop you. Isn't that amazing? It seems like 1,000,000 years ago now, but the party was genuinely torn. Yeah, they should be torn. Musk, the richest man in the world, who spent more than $250 million to elect Trump. How much money did he spend before that to elect Democrats? But never mind that. Now he's in grave danger every time he walks outside because of the Democrat Party. Looked like an unstoppable kingmaker in the immediate aftermath of Trump's victory. Some Democrats were holding out hope that they could work with Musk to modernize the government. No Democrats did that. That is a lie from the Politico playbook. Others believed an unapologetically populist anti-Musk message would help them win back power. That's when they started firebombing and shooting up in terrorist attacks, literal terrorist, unambiguous terrorist attacks, like the anti-Semitic Democrat terrorist attack on the home of the Jewish governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. But never mind that. But they said an unapologetically populist anti-Musk message would help them win back power, which is all they want, power. And I got to tell you, these people, so they're thrilled that they've cost the company $1 billion this year. That's bad for the United States of America. And that means it's good for the Democrats, right? Now, what is the Democrat Party's new slogan? I have the Democratic Party's new slogan. And you may have heard it before because it's not the first time that this has been used. But it is. It goes back some ways, no doubt about it. J. Robert Oppenheimer brought it forward. It predates J. Robert, of course, the father of the Manhattan Project, bringing us the nuclear bomb. 2 bombs used against Japan during World War II by a Democrat president, but originally from the Bhagavad Gita. And J. Robert Oppenheimer, the first detonation of an atomic bomb, was quoted as saying, "I am become death. I am become death, destroyer of worlds." And that is the Democrat Party's new slogan, I think, right? Because they're completely in favor of destroying the world. And J. Robert Oppenheimer on the first detonation of an atomic bomb. And now the Democrat Party slogan. They should have bumper stickers on burning Teslas that the terrorists have set on fire. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. So the Democrat Party, they got a new slogan. They're going to run on that. That's their new campaign thing.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Those rascally Democrats, I've got them. They travel down to go see some jihadis in Louisiana. But a 75-year-old grandmother is still in prison for praying in the United States because of Democrats who are not democratic at all. They don't like America much, but they do like the Houthi rebels. We should turn them over to the Houthis. Let's go to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Don, calling from St. Petersburg, Florida. Don, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Chris, how are you? It's been a while. Hey, so there I was playing with my Kamala Harris Venn diagram kit the other day.
Uh-huh.
And I just happened to put one set as hypocrite and another set as Democrat. And wouldn't you know, the subset came up Hippocrat.
The Hippocrats.
Now, I haven't found that on the web, so I may have gotten a good coinage here, an original coinage for you to use.
They're rewriting the Hippocratic Oath, then.
You're right. Let's not get confused. But, you know, if you're on The View, if you're a panelist on The View, you spell it a little differently on the front end.
How's that?
HIPPO. Versatility.
That I like that. That's it's a language can be fungible.
You should know that was not a fat suit. That was me.
I was just going to say, as a writer and longtime editor, I appreciate the comment.
That is great. And the Venn diagram, I love the use of the Kamala Harris, who I think owns the Venn diagram now.
And I think I finally heard somebody on TV mention my question for 4 years was, did Grandma call her in for dinner by using the name Commie? And for years, I never heard anybody say that. But I think it might have been you. I don't know. But
Commie gotta be short for Kamala, right? Commie, come
exactly.
This way.
I got kicked out of the morning market here in St. Pete last year for putting that on my joke of the week whiteboard. I was asked by the snowflakes to erase it because it was they are now you can't talk politics at the St. Pete market on the weekends.
That is a very disappointing development. I'm sorry to hear that. But I got to tell you, Don, thank you for the call. Who is Paulette Harlow?